Hello everyone, let's experiment with a new base and new methods. I have a satin fabric in my hands, which was tucked into the hoop like this, in order to embroider on it using the double cross stitch technique. Obviously, for this we will need some kind of stencil. Uh, this one I got, and it need to be attached, so what guided by the holes in it we can embroider the pattern we need. So keeping even lines for the beauty and quality of cross stitch. This type of stencil can be based along the perimeter with threads, but in the case of silk and satin, the less manipulation with these fabrics the better. Therefore, if auxiliary canvas is small in size, it can be pinned with sewing pins like this. Silk and satin are perhaps the most capricious fabrics, and you need to work with them extremely carefully. I advise you to maintain medium tension for just the correct distribution of crosses, and before the fabric can be deformed from too much tension in the hoop. This is very important. And remember where you have direction of threads on the fabric, right, to very correctly assess the possible stretch. I fix the stencil to embroider on the bias. This is also an important point what is worth remembering. Carefully pierce the stencil with a needle from the front side, and since the type of auxiliary canvas I have chosen is quite dense, it will be enough for me to fix it from below and from above if the fragment of your future applique is small. For this example, I will fix the needle along the perimeter very carefully and slowly. Once again, I draw your attention to the tension of the fabric in the hoop. The main thing is not to over tighten. Remember what you're embroidering on expensive and very delicate fabric. As you can see, the stencil is perfectly fixed and will provide a tight press to the base fabric during the embroidery. A stencil is usually understood as a ready-made blank for embroidery, but you see right now it's well attached as I wanted, but nothing drawn there yet. It's just absolutely empty meanwhile. So in this case, I will create it myself as a training material. I will take a certain shape pre-cut on paper and mark the lower boundaries of a future embroidery. This way. This will be a spontaneous ornament to demonstrate the possibilities of double cross embroidery on satin. Well, let's take this thread and experiment. I like it. Do you? What about you? It's gradient, and I immediately had an idea of how I can use this effect for a beautiful applique. Really, it's gonna be very, very unusual and, yes, interesting. We'll cut it and continue our wonderful journey. Well, I need a needle with a right, very large eye, and it's very important to choose the right needle, and at the same time as sharp and thin as possible, so not to damage the fabric than embroidering. You see, I have a good enough variety, and choosing right now very carefully, because this is really important stage of production. I have several needles what meet these requirements, and I think this one, and perhaps it's best to start this. You will need to embroider very carefully so as not to prick yourself. I will check again how good the selected needle is, how it passes through the stencil and satin, and how the base fabric feels. No traces were found, and this is an excellent sign. Well, the embroidery tools have been selected, and it's time to get started. Freed the needle and freezing needle is always important, and everybody knows special way to do it, so you need to do it as you like. And right now it's time to mark the place where the embroidery will begin. Just I have to understand as soon as the gradient thread from what color I will start. So right now I'm making the first stitch. You see how it is. Carefully, without any rush. Well, the first simple cross, as you can see, is embroidered, and embroidered just as you are used to doing on regular canvas. You see? Lovely. I cut off a long thread, and this complicates the process a little bit. So if your thread is one color, you can cut it into shorter pieces to make the embroidery easier. Next, I'm embroidering a double cross. Look how wonderfully the stencil does its job and helps to embroider beautiful even crosses, one after another. I really appreciate it. Just feel it. I recommend taking a small hoop, so what it is comfortable as possible for you to hold it in your hand. Remember what the fabric also has weight, especially satin, what I'm working on right now, and if you don't have a specialized embroidery machine, this built-in hoop, then take care of your comfort additionally. The crosses lie perfectly. I really like it, and it's time to give you some advice. Firstly, pierce the fabric in the same places. The thread should enter the exit the fabric from one hole, between which the fabric should not be visible. This way you will make your embroidery beautiful and very well done. And also make sure not to pierce the threads of a auxiliary canvas, this your needle, because after finishing the work they will need to be pulled out of embroidery carefully and not by tearing it out, risking to ruin all the beauty of your embroidery. What I can say, embroidering on the any base using some kind of auxiliary canvas, it's not that big deal. So depends of stencil, of course, depends of idea of realization of a concept of your future applique, but it's really pleasant and interesting process. As you can see that crosses line nicely one by one. And especially right now you already can see this visual effect of using gradient thread. So as I said previously, it's unnecessary to use exact that thread precisely, but as an experiment, as some kind of learning process, why not? So you can try by yourself. Maybe you will like gradient thread much more and use it more often in your craft. Well, what I can say more about borders and about need to think about what way and how you will pull out that additional threads from stencil. That's why your stencil should be a little bit, but good enough bigger than your embroidery, what you're planning to do, to be able literally attach thread one by one and make that job done. So just simple possibility to hold it by your fingers. It will be quite difficult if you let you very little space for these manipulations. And meantime, you see how progressing easily and nicely our embroidery process. I remember you, this is satin, pure satin and quite delicate tissue, but work going absolutely brilliantly, and I can say can express full deep satisfaction of a process. It's really not that big deal like people can think from the beginning. I will continue to embroider symbolic ornament for some time to achieve some completeness and go through all stages of working with an auxiliary canvas. This is how my fantasy turned out as an example. Now is the time to remove all unnecessary things. Magnets for holding the needles. Here you can see two of them, because I did want to break the thread and transfer the needle to the magnet when I needed a different shade of floss in my work. Removes the needles what held the template. There is a fairly large piece left what can be used later, of course. Yeah, so need to be very attentive carefully for all your tools, all your supplements. Well, I think it's time very carefully cut this piece along the holes and save it for future and use it for creating many interesting applique. Just please be very attentive. Don't forget what you have behind: scissors, tissue and very important not damage it. Now is the time to start removing the threads of a template, and there is a little trick here. Please note what the embroidery is now secured in the hoop. I begin to remove one thread after another from the outer corner. If the template canvas, their thinness goes, there are some like that, like almost transparent and not really solid. Then it would be possible to pull out several threads at once. No, not like right now, but I mean from inside out. But this is not the case. As long as there are no crosses at the intersection, the threads are easily removed. You can see it right now, absolutely clear. You see, so sometimes I'm taking a few of them, but this is because we didn't touch yet embroidered crosses, like what here, you see, it's the first one. As long as I said, there are no crosses at the intersection, threads are very easily removed, but even to remove even one thread from the inside requires a lot of effort. And here, as I said, there is a trick. Please just look very carefully at how I pull out the threads, and probably you yourself will come out with the best way. Just observe. I will give you the opportunity to observe for some time, and then I will voice what I wanted to share. Just follow by the movement of my hands to realize best, more productive way of removing template, like a pieces, rested pieces of additional auxiliary canvas. You see what might be removed in the end of our creations. I said I will be silent, but I'm trying to help you to think in this direction. All right, look at this, and I will come back to you very soon with my deep, full explanation. The process of removing threads takes time, and I think I will speed up the video a little bit, and it's even better to understand what trick is great to resort to in order to facilitate this state of work. Once again, I draw your attention to the fact that the template canvas is very dense, almost like plastic. I think what you already guessed, seeing how difficult it is to remove dense stencil threads from embroidery. But the best solution is to remove the embroidery from the hoop before to start removing the threads. Then you do it yourself. When try both options, and please write in comments for me what was more convenient for you. It will be very interesting. Once again, I show you this process in a little bit accelerated mood, but it's important to understand and see before you will start to do, to not be afraid, to not be scared what you will break something or like remove something not attentively. Just do it one by one, thread by thread, without rush, very concentrated and very focused. And still I see I already voiced that trick what I wanted to share with you regarding easier way of removing additional with template stencil canvas. So right now you can see how process getting difficult, like it's moving a little bit even an accelerated mode, not that fast as you wish. So as you remember, I showed you not once canvas stencil, so this type is most convenient for a complex base such as satin or silk, and is also suitable for beginner embroideries on any other basic fabric. Well, what about the moment of truth? I will remove the hoop right now to get rid of the tension of the fabric. Look how easily the threads will be pulled out right now. Just follow follow my hands, you see, tuck fantastically through. The main area is already completed, but there are intersections left, and it's obvious that when the fabric is not stretched, the unnecessary threads are easier to release from the embroidery. See how flexible the fabric and embroidery on it are. Exactly what you need. Nevertheless, we do not hurry and pull out one thread at that time. At this stage, my fingertips are already aching from the intense work, but it's worth it. Well, the unnecessary threads are removed and the applique on satin in the double cross stitch technique is ready. Well, take it into your service and embroider this unique embroidery, gaining best crafting results and be absolutely happy, balanced and joyful. See you soon.